Let's take you to California, where at least 2 people have been killed in the state's second major wildfire this season. The McKinney fire started in the north of the U.S. state near the Oregon border on Friday and has spread rapidly to become the largest this year. The bodies of the dead pair were found inside a car in the driveway of a property caught in the blaze, which has now burnt more than 20,000 hectares. 2,000 residents have been forced to leave their homes. The fire has forced the governor to declare a state of emergency. Authorities warn that possible thunderstorms could result in more fires developing in the coming days.
We don't have a cause yet. It is yet undetermined. We do have a lot of other fires that are lightning starts. Those we can confirm. One of those is the China fire, which is burning just west of the McKinney fire. It's just currently at about 400 acres. The thunderstorms coming into the area, the threat of those is erratic fire spread. It means that we can't predict which way the fire is going to go. When those thunder cells collapse, they tend to drive the fire in all directions. Obviously, that's a threat to firefighters. It also can cause that rapid fire growth. I think the biggest thing for us to think about is how dry these conditions are. Lightning isn't unusual on the Klamath. What is something to consider is that every strike has a greater potential right now to start a fire. So we are responding aggressively with CAL FIRE to all of these as they come up, but we are continuing to detect new fires even as we're actively engaged with the McKinney and the China.
Well, for more on both those stories, Taiwan and California, we can cross live to Washington and join Arise US correspondent Eric Ham. Great to see you as always, Eric. So the Speaker of the US House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, is in Asia at the start of a tour amid heightened tensions over speculation about whether she'll go to Taiwan. So is she going to Taiwan or not?
Well, Charles, we can actually break the news here. We have actually heard from sources within the speaker's office that she, in fact, is going to travel to Taiwan. In fact, we know that during her trip, she will be staying overnight in Taiwan. And so while there was speculation prior to her leaving the United States for her Asia trip, it was unclear if she would actually go to Taiwan. We now know, and it has been confirmed, that she is scheduled to be in Taiwan and she will be there overnight. She's currently in Singapore, and we know that the other places that she is expected to travel to include both South Korea as well as Japan.
So, Eric, given all the publicity, and thank you for breaking that, by the way, that's a very important development, but given all the publicity that she's going to visit Taiwan, Mr. Biden not appearing to support it, the Chinese releasing very strong statements, I mean, she clearly won't be pushed around. She hasn't capitulated.
Well, Charles, we've got some more information about this story. I'm so glad we're talking about this because the president's tone and tenor has actually changed now. We know from our sources that the president actually provided the speaker with information that the military did not think it was best for her to travel to Taiwan. We are now learning that while the president did make clear that the military thought that she should not go, he stopped short of actually suggesting or even telling the speaker not to travel to Taiwan. Now the White House is actually pushing back on China and saying that they do not align with and they do not agree with the threats that are coming out of China. And now it appears as though the White House, President Biden, is on Team Pelosi, and that if she wants to travel to Taiwan, she has every right to do so, and that the United States and the White House will support her efforts to travel to Taiwan.
Eric, you know a lot about these things. I wonder how dangerous a moment this is, because, I mean, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has said the Chinese military would not sit by idly if such a visit took place. I mean, how is that apparent threat being received in Washington?
You're absolutely right, Charles. We have heard from China in terms of the bellicose rhetoric since it was announced that the Speaker of the House might be traveling to Taiwan. This is one of the reasons why we know that President Biden actually relayed that message from the military to the Speaker. And we also know that it was part of the conversation between President Xi and President Biden last week when they spoke virtually. So we know that this is an ongoing issue. And of course, there are growing concerns about what this will mean, not only for the United States and China relations, but also what does it mean for Taiwan when the president is there, as well as, when the speaker is in Taiwan, but also more importantly, what does it mean when she leaves? We know that China has been increasingly aggressive with military flyovers of Taiwan. There are some who believe that we could see military planes actually escorting the speaker's plane into Taiwan and out of Taiwan, sort of sending a clear message of provocation. We don't know what, in fact, will happen. In fact, we don't know exactly when she's expected to actually be in Taiwan and what that means. But we do know that right now there is a bit of tension and growing concern about not just the speaker and her congressional delegation's safety while traveling to and from Taiwan, but also what does this mean if, in fact, China does escalate. China has not been clear about what this escalation is or what it will look like. We have just been hearing very bellicose and aggressive words and terminology from China. But again, right now, many are watching and waiting to see what it actually looks like.
And thank you very much for bringing us that story, Eric. We will, of course, be watching it very closely, as I'm sure you will. But take us to California now, because the second major wildfire this season is taking place there. What's the latest?
Well, Charles, we got some new information about that fire as well. This is now the largest wildfire in the state's history. This fire is being called McKinney because of where it started. And right now it has encompassed more than 50,000 acres of wildland throughout the Northern California area. In fact, it is getting closer and closer to the Oregon border as well. And so there's growing concern that the fire could actually spread into Oregon. One of the reasons why this fire is so deadly, so damaging at this point is because right now there are not only unseasonably warm temperatures in California, but also coming out of Oregon as well. And so with the winds, this fire is beginning to spread. And now it's being blamed for at least 7 deaths already in the state of California.
Well, that's an extraordinary development. We're just looking at pictures of it. An absolutely amazing blaze there. Eric, thank you very much for bringing us those two very important stories. Eric Ham, Arise US correspondent, talking to me there from Washington.